May I remind you that trading is risky and not suitable for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focused on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Welcome to Quant-in-a-Box Daily. Today is December 21st, getting super close to Christmas. What is Quant-in-a-Box? Okay, so Quant-in-a-Box is your global macroeconomic quant in a box. It's a beautiful tool that provides you with all the fundamental data you could possibly need to formulate a fundamental bias. What's nice, though, is you don't have to make the decision of whether something's fundamentally bullish or bearish. It gives you everything, it scores everything, and it lets you then go and confirm things technically. Here's the platform. If you want to try it out, a weekly trial is just $7.90. Okay, give it a bash, see what you like. I'll take you through the tool a bit in today's session. We do this every single day. So if you're new, welcome. The first thing I'm looking at right now is called a market heat map. It shows you what the strongest moving and weakest moving currencies are for the previous session. Okay, but this updates regularly. So you can see right now, our top performers in terms of the currency pairs that moved the highest are the Euro Kiwi, Aussie Kiwi, and Pound Kiwi. They're up the most. And then at the bottom, we've got the currency pairs, asset class that moved the lowest down, the most bearish currency pairs. And that would be, well, you can see here, Kiwi Swissy, Kiwi CAD, and Kiwi Dollar. Okay. So the common thread is the Kiwi. Now we'll jump into that in a moment. Something else that's quite nice is the score chart summary, which shows you a spreadsheet of all the asset classes that Quant-in-a-Box covers with a score, as you can see here, and it then tells you whether it's bullish or neutral or bearish. Okay. In addition to that, and we'll get into this in a moment, there's also economic news as well, which gives you a breakdown of all the news that's up for the day. You can see here, if we just change the impact to medium and high, and then just change the date to today, you'll notice that we've got quite a lot going on. So instantly, you can see here in Canada, we've got some CPI data coming out, inflation rate data coming out of Canada later on. Very, very important. Pay attention to that. Then we've got some home sales. We've got existing home sales, consumer confidence, and then we got some EIA data. This morning in the United Kingdom, we've got some medium-tier news. So basically, the news you're paying attention to today is very much the Canadian. Okay, so the CAD is an important one for you today. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Then, of course, this data out of the States. So you'd have a look at that in the morning just to see what news you've got coming up. And then you jump into either the specific currency pairs. So, for example, you could look at pound dollar, and you could say like, oh, and you can do this one of two ways. You can either come to the fundamental tools and look at pound dollar and say, oh, so bias is bearish fundamentally, and then jump into your charts on pound dollar, and you'd look at this and say, okay, so I'm a bear on the pound dollar. Where am I on the daily? You then notice that price is currently sitting at this support. And on H4, price is currently sitting at this resistance. So you could then decide whether it's something you want to interact with or decide to do. Now, of course, right now, technically, I wouldn't be looking to sell pound dollar based on where we are. But what you would notice is if you were looking to buy pound dollar, right now, while price is currently at support on that daily time frame, you don't have the higher high, higher low that you'd be looking for to confirm that this is something you want to trade. And that you can either look at this on the H1 time frame or M15. Okay, you can see from an M15 perspective, price came up, broke above the 21.55, price came down, is currently sitting over here. So if you were a bull on pound dollar, right now you'd be looking for the higher high, higher low. Okay, if you were a bear, you'd simply say, well, I can't sell over here, so you'd leave it alone and move on to the next currency pair. So another way of doing this, instead of going through all the currency pairs on the left-hand side, is to look at the score chart summary. And over here, you could then say, well, what are the currencies with the best fundamental signal? Okay, so you could then say, well, USDCAD coming through is a strong buy. Now remember, that's fundamentally, okay, so fundamentally USDCAD is very bullish. It doesn't mean your technicals are ready yet. Sometimes you have to sit back and wait. You've got to be patient. Okay, but if we take a look at USDCAD, if we look at the daily, we can see right now we've currently got price at a daily 21 EMA. Okay, price came down to 21, price moved up, price came down, currently sitting at support. And if you look on the left-hand side over here, you can see we've got the support over here. Okay, cool. So what you then do is go to your H4 time frame and say, well, can I buy this? Well, from an H4 perspective, you've got this support left-hand side. Okay, that's nice. You've got a weekly M2. That's nice. So then what you do on H1 is you say, okay, well, let me see some indication of this being bullish, right? You can see you got your daily M2 over here, weekly M2. So M15, do you have the higher high, higher low? Okay, and you'll be looking for that. Now, again, remember, we spoke about Canadian news coming out later on today. So this would be the pair that you'll be lining up. And again, your fundamentals on USDCAD are currently bullish. So the question is the news going to be in line with this bullish sentiment? Okay, and if it was, how could you then trade that? How could you then get into that opportunity? Are you currently at support on the USDCAD? In addition to that, what you could also do is you could also look at your other CAD pairs, like, for example, KiwiCAD, which is also coming through with a strong buy on Quant-in-a-Box. And you could say, okay, well, am I currently at support? And you notice that you've got the D21 over here. Okay, and on an H4 perspective, you're currently at a profit-taking zone. I would like to see more than just a profit-taking zone. I'd like to see some support left-hand side, and you'd obviously notice that price is sitting at this level over here. Okay, and so if you were looking to buy this, you'd simply go to your H1 time frame, and you'd see if you've got any indication of higher highs and higher lows, which we do not currently have. Okay, you could also look at M15 as well and say, do I have any indication of higher highs, higher lows, which you do not currently have. So you then sit on this chart over the coming session leading into New York, and you wait and see, do I get the higher high, higher low that allows me to buy this? Now, if that buy happens before the news, if you get that set up before the news, pay attention to that. Is that something that you can trade? Or do you wait for the news to come out and then take that trade and do it in one scalp? All right, I'll leave that to you in terms of what your decision is. But you've now got two currency pairs that are set up bullishly on Quant-in-a-Box, and they both have news, and both of them are at levels where you could potentially be looking for confirmation of bullishness. Okay, in terms of our bearish pairs, you can see here pound Kiwi and Aussie Kiwi. Now, both of those coming through on our market heat map over here. As we can see here, we've got, let's double check. So we've got Kiwi CAD, Kiwi Swissy, Kiwi dollar, Euro Kiwi, Aussie Kiwi, pound Kiwi, right? So let's take a look at that. So Aussie Kiwi, Euro Kiwi, and pound Kiwi. And Aussie Kiwi and pound Kiwi are both bearish. So you've got these currency pairs that are moving higher up in the session, but they're both stronger sells fundamentally. Let's go take a look at the pound Kiwi. Aha. Both strong sells. So we've now got pound Kiwi currently at a weekly. This is a daily profit taking zone. Let's look at the daily time frame. Okay. So price currently coming up into this resistance left-hand side. We've got H4 time frame, price currently coming up the top of the range. Do you have resistance left-hand side? And then on H1 perspective, you've got price coming up to a daily profit-taking zone. Okay. Now on this currency pair, I don't have role reversals except for this resistance on the left-hand side over here. So I'll probably just leave this alone. I don't like the consolidation of this H4 time frame, so I'll leave that alone. But it is something you can pay attention to. And then, of course, Aussie Kiwi, also fundamentally bearish, but one of the bigger movers of the previous session. Let's take a look. Okay, so fundamentally bearish, but currently the profit-taking zone. So I'd leave that one alone. So the pairs I'd be paying attention to would probably be the USDCAD and the KiwiCAD, right? Let's take a look at our yen pairs. So looking at our yen pairs from yesterday, we've got our Aussie yen still hanging out down here. Okay. I'm going to wait for H4 to set something up in terms of some indication of an opportunity to either get long on this if the fundamentals are bullish. Right now, the fundamentals are neutral, okay? Or if I don't get bullishness down here. So, for example, if you got a double, let's just say a double bottom, right? Let's just say price stopped making lower lows. Price came up, made a higher high. Price came down, close at roll reversal. well, you could then buy that. If you got price bouncing around and suddenly price slowly moves up to resistance, well, you could obviously look at selling that. Okay, right now, though, it's just chilling down here, so I'm going to leave that alone. Let's take a look at the other yen pairs. CAD yen, you can see similar situation. Euro yen, similar situation. Pound yen, similar situation. And Kiwi yen, similar situation. So I'll leave the yen pairs alone for now, but keep an eye on them. Okay. I think the opportunities today, because of the fact that we're looking at CAD later in terms of the news, USDCAD, but you're looking for that higher low. Okay. Very important. Kiwi CAD, price currently at a profit taking zone. Again, looking for that higher low. Okay. Euro CAD. Price broke this support. Okay. And then price popped up above that. On a daily time frame, we've got price at a, oh, we don't like that, hey? We'll leave Euro CAD alone. Again, you could go look at EuroCAD and say, what's my bias in EuroCAD fundamentally? You can then just scroll through here and you can see here, EuroCAD over here is neutral. Okay. That's currently neutral. And then taking a look at Pound CAD. Not much going on there. Sort of similar to the Kiwi CAD. Okay. Just above that daily 21. You are at weekly S1 over here. But I don't see any role reversals standing out. In fact, the only pair that actually makes sense to me out of all of these is probably the USDCAD. Because of where price is sitting right now on the daily. Okay. So again, you could then look and see if your USDCAD is moving. Then do you get opportunities on your Kiwi CAD, your Pound CAD, your Euro CAD, and then sort of trade them in a batch. But again, make sure that you're at support on the profit taking zone and in an area where you have seen indication of bullishness, i.e. a high low. You can see now price coming up, price coming down. So this is not giving you any indication of trade right now. Look at your M15 chart. Look at how price is not giving you the higher low. So you just leave this alone. Besides that, team, nothing else is really standing out in terms of the dollar pairs. You can see here, I mentioned pound dollar to you, but again, just be careful. If you for whatever reason you are a bull on pound dollar, make sure you get the higher low. Okay, make sure you can verify that. And you could be looking at this from an H1 perspective. Okay, you can see if we draw a line across the bottom of this candle, we actually broke both those support levels over there. Okay. So you'd be looking for this to close at some kind of support. You've got support left-hand side over there. You can see this red candle didn't really interact with that. So what you could do is you could simply say, well, H1 is still consolidating. Take a look at the M15 and say, give me some opportunities over there. Show me some kind of like higher low. You are in position for a buy. Now recognize that your view on pound dollar would be contradictory to your USD CAD. Okay. And of course, we recognize that pound dollar is bearish on the Quant-in-a-Box. Your Kiwi dollar currently sitting at support. Currently at a daily 21 EMA. I'd like to see this candle close though. But if you are trading that right now, then you are looking for higher highs, higher lows. Okay. On your Aussie USD, looking pretty sideways. And your euro dollar, you have got this support over here. These wicks left-hand side. Not a massive fan of them. Also, you aren't bearish on euro dollar. You can see price is still sitting at the support over here. Okay, we actually came down to lower support. You can see there. broken support. So if you've got a higher low in this situation, then, 100%. But you'd like to see price closing at support. Your 4-hour candle has closed at support. You just need a confirmation of volatility. So your pound dollar and euro dollar looking very similar, but your USD CAD in the same situation. So you can see there's definitely contradiction going on in the charts. Be very, very careful. If you decide to stand back and just wait for the CAD news, do a news scalp today, that's fine. If you decide to rather, we're getting close to Christmas, leave things alone, wait for solid opportunities, that's also fine. Recognize that the stage, the way in which the market is moving right now, look at this euro dollar, right? It tells you a lot about what's going on in the market right now. Your yen pairs have all dropped. They're all just sitting at the bottom there. Wait until they set up something to give you an indication of what you want to trade with them. You've got CAD news coming out later. Your Kiwi CAD's in a profit-taking zone. Your USD CAD's current at daily 21. Set those trades up. If they don't set up for you, leave them alone. Be very patient right now. Something has to really stand out to you for it to be tradable. If it doesn't, leave it alone. Okay? I wish you the best of luck today. Stay patient, stay disciplined, stay liquid. See you guys tomorrow.